Okay, today's video, I'm going to get straight into this quick video. OPs put you down quickly. Negative soulless thought lineation or delineation. So, okily dokily, this in my opinion is an OP trait. It's not like you won't catch, yes, you will catch a souled human being negative occasionally. But also depression has an affinity with novelty, and so if you're a souled human, it's very likely that you're going through little novelty cones and popping out into new ontoses, and you're actually what's called evolving and seeking and changing. Now OPs they don't do that. It's like they're stagnant, just with the latest societal upgrade, but that's it. Not the latest astrolatry. There is no star relationships for them. There's no, if they're going by the horoscope, it's on such a superfluous level that you can't even call it a real astrolatry. It's like just a societal version. So, they're not deep, they're shallow people in the sense of they can mimic depth, but you have to really start to hone your discernment on what depth actually is as well. Because depth means also leaving behind stuff, because if you dive deep, we know that you come back with amazing gems. It's called Magnus Opus. It's the greatest gems that we give to each other. Anyway, so I find OPs put you down quickly, like you move into a new area, a new job, a new whatever, and very quickly during a conversation you'll be like slyly, as if they didn't say it, attacked and put down, So that's another trait that I find often, and that's why they're also inherently psychopathic. Why? Because it is indeed negative. For instance, if I walk around here in Uruguay and have no shoes on, in Australia that's pretty okay because it's a beach culture. And we have flip-flops, thongs, but a lot of people are just barefoot in Australia, barefoot all the way. It's a very beachy culture in many towns in Australia, even if you're not near the beach. Just because most towns are, within an hour from the beach. It's hot. In Australia it's kind of accepted, but here in Uruguay, I mean, they have coast. There's a lot of coast here, but there's a lot of homeless and a lot of the big bins here. A lot of people bin dive, but I bin dive too. I just sort of press the thing so it lifts up and have a look if there's anything around there. Usually I don't dive in it. But yeah, there's a lot of homeless people and stuff around, and so here if I wear no shoes, someone will immediately have the first thought, and this is visible. I mean, you do have to be a mind reader. I was going to say you don't have to be able to read minds, but I guess you do. But you can see their telepathy instantly, their body language, the shock facial comes over them, stuff like that. You just know that they're thinking, ooh, the first thought that they're thinking is a negative. Why? Because, well, it's not a positive to say, oh, is he homeless? So I'm wearing no shoes, the other person looks at me and goes, and the first thought, if that's, are they homeless? Because that's what everybody's thinking. That's called the telepathic hive mind grid that all the OPs are connected to. And I put out a video about Soulless servers, the OP servers, and you just got to look at how they're tilting their head. I remember someone said it in a video. His name was Terence McKenna, and he said something about the telepathic grid and tilting your head 2 inches back. And after that video I tried that, went, oh, I see what he's talking about. So just tilt your head backwards and forwards 2 inches and check that out too. And in that Soulless servers thing, it's just like a body language that you will see a server often put off, and they release a frequency. It tells the other OPs around telepathically in the language of light, in the hive mind nature, the squealing of I call it the huzz and the buzz of the hive mind, because it's very much like the Star Trek Borg, that kind of idea. Um, Now, it's negative, that first thought, because it's spelled negative, right? I don't even know if negative. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, it's right, isn't it? Negative, yeah. Sorry, thought I had a spelling error. Negative, yeah, that's it. So it's a negative first thought to see me walking down the road with no shoes and go, oh, is they homeless? Like, a positive thought might be, oh, they look like they're having a stress-free day. But then their body language would not read shock. So you can tell that they've gone to the negative fear slant or connotation of thought because of the body language, mostly on OPs, and OPs don't fake it at all. So, they kind of can't, they're just too simple because they are body language, they are body, you know. So, and I've called that a soulless thought. Well, it's not very in good spirits, at least. It's negative, that's for sure. And then they delineate to, more negative thoughts. That already starts the decay of the being into psychopathy or psychopathy and pathologies. And it just releases bad energy, bad chemicals, and no wonder there's like a lot of old ladies will give you that look, who are neurotic and hiding inside all day. Anyway, so, and then there's delineation, soulless thought delineation. Yeah, so why soulless? Well, everything I've seen associated with soul seems to be like more flowering. Flowering in the sense of that a flower gives off life, it gives off pollen, you can eat the pollen as a human, many animals can eat the pollen, the beauty, which you could make a big lecture on, I guess, beauty itself, but, the flower really has that sense of giving. It's like the final product of the plant and all this sort of thing. Well, not final, I guess the fruit is. It's going into that. And just, I really mean the meaning of flowering, which means, to open and express, and that's really what I meant, or mean. It's not exactly flowering, so soulful, because everything I've seen associated with soul is really flowering. Giving, flowering, sharing, opening, those sorts of words go with it. Not, closing down. See, the Black Alliance, those who are asleep, the Black Alliance, the ignorance, the sphere of understanding, which is always expanding, has a surface area that necessarily grows larger. Notice, said Dennis McKenna. I love that quote. I'll say it for the rest of my life, I'm sure, 100 times. But the ignorant ones who make up the Black Alliance, their ways are in opposition to the idea of flowering and opening. The idea of the flower is, it's a sensitive thing opening to the world. And, anything could happen to it. I could come past and chop it off. I could just walk past, brush all the pollen out by accident so it doesn't get to give life. It's putting itself out there. And the notion of like that good, the good, the forward motion, the evolutionary nature seems to be all associated with soul, novelty, weirdness as well. The input of data into our world, or the creation of stuff as well, but not just stuff, of thought as well, and ways and so on. It seems soul is associated with more of that, and the Black Alliance of the soulless nature is really to densify, slow down, and make harder reality. And if you feel those words and then look out into society, you can see how much it's such an organic portal based. I call it a de-souling society. That you even have to begin by working to give your sacred labor, which is meant to go into your great work to give really something proper to everyone. so that we don't go through the same cycles over and over again. That's why it said that OPs without souled humans couldn't even make an evolving society. It would eventually just run out of steam every time. And because they just do the same stuff, there's not the entrance of the new light or the input of new data and so forth. So the notion of flowering really is associated with soulness, you know what I mean? And so if the example I gave where here in Uruguay I'm walking with no shoes on, immediately I can see so many people, most people, look at you thinking, oh, homeless straight away. In Australia it wouldn't necessarily be that unless you had like a big beard and stuff. But it'd be more like, oh, okay, well, meh. They wouldn't even really look as much because, you know, it's more societally accepted. So there's another little point to just add in at the end. It's always, you know, got to do with social stuff as well. You know, I made a quote once. I'm going to end this video here. You cannot be enlightened and be a societal at the same time. You can't be in the ways of society and enlightened at the same time, in my opinion. consciousazine.com Chronicles.